Gonna start this video with some nitro. Hey, it's Chris. Today, I wanna do something a little bit different. Instead of just talking about the iPad itself, I wanna talk a little bit about what you can do with an iPad. Specifically, I wanna talk about some legit online businesses that you can start, run, and grow with nothing but an iPad. I'm talking about businesses that have the potential to earn you 6 figures per year. We're not talking about get rich quick schemes here. This video is not for lazy people. So this video might end up being a little bit longer than usual. So if you wanna go grab a coffee or some snacks and settle in, I really want you to take the time to absorb this information because I'm gonna give you some resources, some examples, and some motivation, advice to help you at least get started down this path. Now, if you're new around here, let me just explain that I started this brand, Daily Tech, back in 2012 as a side project while I was still working at a job that I despised. And I grew it from a blog into a video-centric business, kind of made that transition. And over the years, I've earned hundreds of thousands of dollars from AdSense alone, ads being shown on these videos. And that's not even including sponsorships and other sources of revenue that this business generates. So I do feel like I have some valuable knowledge and experience to share. Now I'm gonna put some timestamps down in the description so you can skip around to the section of the video that most interests you. But I wanna start by just talking about some of the benefits here. And for the most part, they're very obvious. Things that you've probably heard before. Things like flexibility in your schedule, being able to work from home or work from anywhere with an internet connection. I feel like people just say this stuff all the time. It gets thrown around too much, but it means something to be in charge of yourself and not have to report to an idiot every day. Another way to think about this is that you can spend your time building up your vision and not building up somebody else's vision. Let me go off script just a little bit and just say it really is an incredible feeling to be making things happen on your own. Even a successful doctor or a lawyer, unless you've started your own firm, you still report to somebody. There's something to be said about being in charge of your own destiny. The reason in this video I want to concentrate on online businesses is because there's less overhead. Obviously, if you're not having to invest in or rent a brick and mortar space, you're gonna save a lot of money. So I feel like a lot of the things we're gonna discuss here are sort of like the minimum viable opportunities for you to launch your own business. Another thing that you get to do if you run your own business is you get to focus on your passions. Look at my channel. I get to sit here at this desk and make videos about technology and Apple products, stuff that I would use and want and research all the time anyways, whether it was my job or not. I get to do that for a full-time living. And whatever you're passionate about, you can also make that your job, which is pretty cool. One of the other huge benefits of starting your own business is that you can continue to learn new things. And I think that's a really good excuse to start a new business. Actually, if there's something that you're really interested in learning, you can use that as an opportunity to embrace a beginner's mindset and know that for everything that you're interested in, there's a lot of other people around this huge world with a big population that would also be interested in learning that same thing or those same things. And so you can bring them along for your journey as you learn, as you take the time and put in the research. You can distill things, you can curate things, and you can be a filter of learning for other people. And trust me, there are plenty of people who would be happy to pay for the convenience of having a knowledgeable, friendly person put everything they need on a silver platter and hand it to them. So let's go ahead and talk about some business opportunities that you can start. And of course, you don't have to have an iPad to absorb this information. You might have a Chromebook, or you might have just a laptop or just a phone, adapt things as you need to. I will be talking a little bit about why the iPad fits some of these things perfectly, but be adaptable. All right, the first opportunity I want to talk about is writing. I think writing-based businesses are one of the easiest that you could start. Now, in the old days, when I got started in 2012, it was all about blogging. But I think the move these days is really to start a newsletter. It could be a free newsletter or it could be a premium newsletter. Believe it or not, newsletters are having a resurgence in popularity right now, and for good reason. I mean, it's a good way to connect with somebody or a brand and get the information that you're after on your own schedule. And they're really powerful for you as a content creator if you go down this route, because they're not controlled by algorithms. If you're gonna jump on TikTok, you gotta worry about the algorithm. YouTube, algorithm. Twitter, Instagram, you're contending with algorithms. Even with Google search and blogging, algorithms could stand in your way. With an inbox, you're getting invited to share something with somebody without the interference of an algorithm. Morning Brew is a great example of what you can do with a newsletter. It brings in $20 million a year. The Generalist is bringing in over $130,000 annually. Scott Melker runs the Wolf Den newsletter, and he makes a killing talking about crypto. So really, the sky is the limit. And the great thing is you don't have to be an amazing writer. Let me say that again. You don't have to be an amazing writer. All you have to do is have something valuable to say and have your own area of expertise and be willing to share. So you can use a tool like Jarvis, the AI writing assistant, which I'm going to link up in the description for you, to improve your writing, make sure that it's as good as it can be. And then you can use a newsletter service like Review from Twitter, or Substack, which is popular, or ConvertKit, which has some great tools to build up an audience and then find a way to monetize. Now, if you're serious about going down the newsletter route, there's two people I want to connect you with. Number one, David Perel, who can turn you into a great writer. I love the tweets that he puts out. And then also Jens Lennerson, the guy behind a newsletter agency called Marketing Mule, who lives and breathes newsletters. So he's always got some interesting insights. Between those two, you pick a service, you study those guys for a couple of weeks, I think you'll be well on your way to success. Now, for the iPad, you want to get yourself a really great keyboard. I'm partial to the Magic Keyboard from Apple. It's such a good typing experience. Get yourself a great writing app, Jarvis, if you really want to supercharge your writing and be more confident. Or if you're just really confident already, you can go with IA Writer. That's a great app. Alternatively, you could even outsource the writing. If you feel like you don't want to do any writing and you've got a little money to spend, using a service like Scripted. And maybe I'll link up a couple others down below for you too. So there, I think I provided you a decent toehold for you to get started down the path of turning writing into a basis for an online business for yourself. There's lots of ways to monetize writing online. I'm gonna leave that to the two people I mentioned earlier to help you figure out how to make money from writing, but it's very doable. Let's talk about podcasting next as an opportunity to start a successful iPad-based business, because podcasting with nothing but an iPad is truly a joy. I've done it a lot. It works really well, but podcasting in general is blowing up right now. It's just a convenient way for people to consume information. So all you need to do is provide some value. Read my lips. Now is the perfect time to capitalize on all the interest in podcasts. Cody Ko and Noel Miller are two guys whose Tiny Meat Gang podcast brings in over $50,000 per month. Chapo Trap House is a political podcast that earns over $165,000 per month. There's Joe Rogan, whose podcast has earned him millions. Of course, there are lots of other podcasters who haven't grabbed so many headlines that are making enough money to live just from their podcasts. And the thing I like about podcasting is it's really low pressure. Compared to YouTube, there's no camera, right? And it feels like you're just kind of talking with friends. That's what people tell me they like about my podcast. And I've recorded lots of my own podcast episodes using nothing but the iPad. The iPad Pro has such great internal mics right now that you can definitely get away with it without an external mic. I do also love using the Rode NT USB Mini, which you have to get a USB-C to USB-C cable for to connect to an iPad Pro, but I can't believe the sound that comes out of that thing for $99. You can also get really serious and pair a Scarlett Solo or something similar with an XLR microphone and connect that to your iPad, and you'll get pro level sound that way. But the iPad as not only a recording hub, but a production studio where you can type out a script or an outline, record to it, edit, and then publish is amazing. It's also very portable, so it goes anywhere. If you're gonna do some podcast interviews, for instance, it does everything. Now you can edit right on your iPad. You can record into GarageBand and make some cuts there, or you can record using a program called Ferrite Pro, which I've used in the past. Use your Apple Pencil, that's really fun. But you can also outsource the editing. So if you don't know what you're doing, or you just don't have time because this is a side project as you get going, you can outsource. I've been using a service and I have been very happy with the results. And then in terms of hosting and distribution, I have loved using transistor.fm. That's where I host my podcast, and I kid you not, I think they have the best customer support I've just about experienced anywhere on the entire internet. And I know what I'm saying, and I mean it. So if you know you're gonna need help and you're not sure what you're doing, don't go with any other service, go with transistor.fm. Now, if you're serious about making some money online, you have to consider creating an online course, as long as you have a deep reservoir of specific knowledge that you can share. Now, I think a lot of people get intimidated when they think about creating and sharing and producing an online course, but the iPad makes it so easy because you can record, edit, and share all from this one simple device. People are always like, why does the iPad record in 4K? Who's gonna use that for recording? Well, it works great in this kind of a situation where you set up inside somewhere, get it on a tripod, record, and then you don't even have to import from another camera. It's already there. Put it into LumaFusion, put it into iMovie, get it edited. It can literally be a dream video editing workflow. And by the way, it doesn't have to be a video course. You can do an audio course as well. Now you can make an absolute killing providing value to people in the format of an online course. All the way back in 2014, two guys, John and Elliot, made over $1 million with an iOS 8 development course, just showing people how to make apps for iOS 8. A popular online platform called Teachable has helped course creators earn over $1 billion collectively. So there's an absolutely huge demand here. Think about your experiences. What do you know? What have you gone through that nobody else knows? What are the little things that you've learned in your job experience that you could pass on and help other people with? And actually, Podia is the platform I think I would go with, because not only can you create an online course there, but you can also create a paid or premium community around a newsletter or a podcast or a YouTube channel too. And the thing I really like about it is there's a ton of educational content at Podia to help you get started. Now, we're gonna mention cryptocurrency. I don't care if you like crypto or not, if you care about it, if you know about it, but there's no denying that you can make some money in the world of crypto, especially when it comes to NFTs or non-fungible tokens. And I'll let you pause and go Google that and learn a little bit more about it and come back if you don't know what I'm talking about. But NFTs are a great way for anybody who's creative to monetize their talents. You could be an artist, you could be a musician, you could be a video creator, but you can create an NFT, and what better way to create an NFT seriously than on an iPad using an Apple Pencil, especially for you artists. Now, please don't take anything in this section of the video to be financial advice, because it's not. You need to do your own research when it comes to investing, especially into crypto, which can be very volatile. But I do want to point out that a 12-year-old recently made an NFT collection called Weird Whales that has earned him over $400,000 so far. So yeah, there's a lot of potential here. Now, art aside, and I totally understand everybody who's like, why would I pay for a JPEG? I get it. There are other ways to use NFTs. You can just look at Gary Vee and what he's doing with selling access to himself using NFTs as a system. So do some research into VeeFriends to understand what that's all about and how you can kind of push the envelope past NFT art. Now, since not everybody is going to understand creating NFTs and getting into that world as much as maybe writing or podcasting or some of the other things we're going to talk about, I'm not going to dwell too much, but I want to mention two apps that you can use on your iPad to help you get started. The first one is called Sketch AR, and it will help you create and sell NFTs right off of your iPad. And if you're into music, you can also check out Sing, which is another iPad app for NFTs that's more focused on audio. All right, let's get back into a more general realm where anybody can make something happen, and that is the e-commerce space. Now, e-commerce is nothing new. It's been around since the dawn of the internet, and if you're enterprising, you actually can create and sell a real physical product yourself, but you don't have to. You can become what's called a drop shipper, or you can make use of print on demand services so that you hold no inventory. And by the way, there are a ton of resources that can take you from not knowing anything about this space to being able to generate significant sums of money. For instance, a great example of someone who's been very successful in the e-commerce realm is Greta Rose Van Riel, who's created two multi-million-dollar e-commerce brands. So some of the brands she's created include Skinny Me Tea, Drop Bottle, and also The Fifth Watches, which were all quite successful. And she's put together some great educational resources, including a free masterclass to kind of help you dip your toes in to the e-commerce space. And so I'd probably steer you towards her, and I'll link her up down below if you're interested in this realm. So you don't even have to come up with a really great idea. You can see what's out there and what you can improve upon. If you're getting into e-commerce though, one thing that I think would be great for you to use is an app called Scan Thing, because you can take a picture of anything, and I've never seen an app do it quite so well. It will just automatically cut out the background. You can even copy and paste that into another program. So if you need to take product shots with your iPad and do some editing on the iPad, you'll just love Scan Thing. Obviously, Shopify is probably the most well-known place to create a storefront and sell stuff, but I actually would highly recommend checking out Sellfy, Sellfy. I'll link it below, mostly because it's really, really simple and straightforward. It has just what you need, but not too much. I feel like Shopify has almost become so bloated in terms of what it can do and all the integrations that it could be a little bit mind-boggling for somebody who's just getting into it. Now, honestly, I could keep going on and on and on. There are so many opportunities. You could become a consultant. There's always freelancing. You could become a YouTuber like myself. You could develop an app, whether or not you know how to code. There are plenty of no-code solutions out there. It takes some time, takes some work. You gotta learn. Whatever you're doing, you're gonna have to learn, but make that investment. If you don't have money to invest right now, invest your time. Now look, if you're having trouble coming up with an idea, I've got something for you. I came across a resource that I held on to share with you guys at some point. The website is opportunities.so, and it's a newsletter actually that also has some additional resources. Somebody is out there doing a bunch of research, listening to what people are saying, finding pain points, finding opportunities, looking at data, and presenting it to you in a newsletter format so that you can maybe take action and spark ideas. I think above all else, spark ideas for opportunities for yourself. So check it out, opportunities.so. But the main thing I want to drill home here is that you have to start, okay? The big regret that I have had, I only have one when it comes to my business, is that I didn't start sooner. Because look, a car cannot transport you from where you are to where you want to be unless you get in, hit the ignition, and hit the gas. And a business cannot transport you from where you are to where you want to be in terms of revenue, in terms of your lifestyle, and securing your own future unless you get in and hit the gas. So what I'm trying to say is don't wait. There's always a million reasons not to do it. You can be scared, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, but you just have to start. If it takes you 3 to 5 years to really get some solid traction, don't you wish that you had started 3 to 5 years ago? And in 3 to 5 years, you're not sure if you are gonna have your job, you get fired or something, you're gonna wish that you had started your side project, your side hustle, your online business much earlier. Okay, so get started. It's important for you to pick something that you're gonna work on that you're passionate about, that you're not gonna get bored of or sick of, or when times get tough, or when you have no attention, you won't mind working on it anyways, like me talking about Apple stuff, because the tough times are gonna come and they're gonna start out tough. At the very beginning, when you don't have a big brand and a big audience and you have to really fight to attract people, you're going to need your inner motivation and inner passion to carry you through. So I feel like this advice is regurgitated all over the internet, but that's because there is truth in the fact that if you're just out to make money, it's probably not enough to carry you through. You do need to do something that you actually care about or believe in. Now, the subject of starting an online business, whether it's iPad based or just in general, is way too big to fit into this video. I just want to give you guys a kick in the pants. I really just wanted to help provide some footing so you can just get motivated to start down this journey. But I did ask for some questions on Twitter, and I'm gonna answer those in the next episode of the podcast. So I specifically asked people to let me know what troubles they were running into, what was bogging them down when they were starting a business, what was demotivating them. And so I got some really good questions, some thoughtful questions, and I wanna address those in the next episode of the podcast. So get yourself subscribed, it's linked up down below, and we will continue this discussion there. This video means a lot to me because I started with nothing and I worked my way up, and I don't care who you are or where you've come from, the internet is a great equalizer in terms of opportunity. If you're willing to put in the hard work and invest the time, if you're willing to stick with it for 3 to 5 years and beyond, I believe in you. And this video is for you, and I want you to go out and be successful. And hopefully you find some value in this video. And if nothing else, I wish for you to not feel defeated in life, because you can make some big things happen for yourself. And if you don't do it for yourself, who's gonna do it for you? I've got a poster hanging up in the wall that I bought from Iconic, and it's a canvas and it says, work harder, work harder, work harder, because nobody cares. You can complain all you want, but you can't deposit complaints. And let me also just say, not everybody is entrepreneurial, and that's okay. So if you're happy working at a job, Perfect. That's great. But if you want out of that situation, you're not happy there, like I wasn't, then this video is for you. And all I have to say is get to work. The resources you need are listed in the description. All right, later.